Hey, what's going on, everybody? How we doing? How we doing? What's
Hey,
up?
how
What's
we
up?
doing?
You.
You already know we back again. It's the No Name Podcast,
Yes, sir.
Season 2, Episode 2. This is one of your co-hosts, Wisdom Devine,
And this is the other co-host, Tomi.
and we got a special guest, my
sir.
boy. I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Well, it's popping. Chino Fevas. You already know what it is. Texas representing holding it down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Already know. Second home, man.
Yeah.
Hey, so look, man, I've been trying to get you on here for a minute, man, but I was trying to wait until we switched it to the virtual aspect because Texas is big, you feel me? So, me being in San Antonio, you being in El Paso, it would have been a real hard way to make it work without me and Tomi both being there, you know what I'm saying? Because I like to make it, inclusive to both of us because it's both our podcasts. So I like to try to make sure that, both of us are represented. So that's enough. So apologies for getting you on here for so late, man. But we worked it out, man. So I appreciate you coming on, though.
Shout out to both of y'all. Much love.
So Tomi, since the last episode, man, did you have a chance to check out P Valley?
No, actually, I've been on the road. I just started classes too. But hey, why are you looking like that? Hey, chill out.
Cause I knew you hadn't, but I just wanted to throw that out there, What about you, Chino? You watch P Valley?
Hey, no kids, I don't fuck with it, bro.
Okay, so look, I want to let's have a conversation about that. What's up with it? What's the problem with it?
So I don't knock it or nothing like that, you know what I'm saying? But just from my aspect, I just can't get into it. Like I get the concept of what they're trying to do with it and all that. I just can't get into it, brother. Like the storyline apply, it ain't nothing that appealed to me from like just the little clip my chick tried to show me and stuff. I was just like, I'm not fucking with it, brother.
So you don't think that, as in today, it shouldn't be a light shed on that you have guys that are, masculine, portrayed as gangsters, but they actually have a preference of a different sexuality than the norm? You don't think there should be a light shed on it?
Nah, I definitely agree with you on that aspect. But like, as far as I'm concerned, it's like I see that shit daily, you know what I'm saying, in just regular life. You know what I'm saying? I see that in regular life, you feel me? So I'm not finna just go on the TV screen when I got the live projection right in front of me. It's a lot of so-called thugs out here that's portraying a role, and you know what I'm saying, on the down low for real. Cause like
listen, I agree, but see, my whole thing is this: I like the fact that they aren't afraid to, push buttons. Cause man, listen, you got dudes that will be out here and be talking that talk, man, but they like pussy. You feel me? Like, and as much as we don't like to admit that in our community, it goes down. You feel me? And I'm gonna be real. I enjoy week by week. Like they on break right now. You feel me? But it's like I enjoy seeing how they incorporate everyday life of what's been going on since COVID hit, right?
Right.
I enjoyed that aspect part of the show because it's like at the end of the day, you got so much like murder, you had scamming, you got so much that was going on, and they embracing all of that on the show. You feel me?
Yeah, factually.
Now I know a lot of people don't like the fact that you got certain things going on, but I'm gonna be real. When it's two women, we don't be tripping.
Yo, so part of self, like as far as I go, like I'm very secure in my masculinity and my sexuality, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not tweaking on that aspect of the show. I just personally don't like the show. You know
like the show, period?
yeah, it just didn't catch my attention. You know what I'm saying?
You're
But
like down in the valley where the girls get naked.
yeah, I was gonna say, bro, if I want to see that, I just go to Bucks or Jaguars.
Hey
Like,
yo, you crazy, bro. Nah, I feel you though, because I've heard, mixed reviews. You feel me? I know certain people like it, certain people don't. They not really feeling it. So I definitely get it. It just, for me, certain things about it, like the reason what made me ask Tomi about it this week, it wasn't even really about none of those aspects. It just, me and you hadn't had no conversation about it, so I wanted to see where your mind was at. But what we was talking about was me being in a mind state of having suicidal thoughts when I first got here, and I was telling him it was a character on the show that actually killed itself. And me watching that episode that night, bro, like literally, it pulled me out of everything I was in, and it should touch me. It touched me in ways that I can't even, explain. I can't even go back. I really want to go back and look at the episode again, just because that's how good it was. But it's like, I just can't though. And it's so crazy because the shirt that Big Teak had on when he killed himself and all that, I had the same shirt on months ago. So
right.
it just made me feel like I was like, whoa, it was so much
It
things that had
allowed you to
happened
put
to him
yourself
and
in them
everything.
shoes.
It was creepy, bro.
Yeah,
it was creepy, real
I feel you
scary.
on that. Because like you already know where I've been at with suicide. Like I've tried to kill myself on 5 separate occasions, and that was just stemming from childhood up to the army and dealing with PTSD and all that.
Yeah,
So,
we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that.
I feel you on that. So
Listen,
it's different when you try to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Like when you see it on the outside looking in, you putting yourself in them shoes. It's like, damn, like I was damn near in that same place, literally in that same outfit. So it's kind of like almost like a deja vu experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And it hit me hard, real hard. When I tell you, real hard, to the point where I was like, I need to go back to podcast because I'm losing sight of what was for real. You know what I'm saying? I got people like I hadn't spoken to in years. I'm having nightmares about them like doing stuff to me. I'm like, whoa, like what? Man, it was crazy, bro. It was crazy. So like, I just wanted to touch bases on that. But like to touch on another topic, man, like we talked about in the beginning of the pod, you from El Paso. And for those who don't know, when I joined the military, it's a certain thing for those who don't really know about, military terminology. There's a such thing when you go to your boot camp and then you learn about your job, you go to your first placement where in it, like say if you're talking about a college life, it would be like your university, right? But for us, it's called a duty station, So my first duty station was El Paso, young, 19 years old, gang banging, coming from, a small city, trying to, make something different in my world because I got an opportunity to leave, but I left and ended up in a place where drugs was very, very cheap and gang banging was at an all-time high. Now, for you, Chino, you grew up where you're not from El Paso all the way because you foreign, but El Paso is your home as far as, and that's where you grew up. You became a man there, and that's where your all of your manly traits and the people who know you. That's where you come from. So growing up out there, was it the same way as in like gang activity being high and like drugs being very plentiful when you was young?
So like to put it in perspective, like you said, I grew up out here. You got to think, like, we had fake IDs. We was going to Juarez at 13 years old.
And tell them what Juarez is, because some of them might not know the culture.
Juarez is the border. That's Mexico. You know what I'm saying? We stay 10 minutes from the border. Like, as soon as you walk over a bridge, you right there in Mexico. That's Juarez City. You know what I'm saying? Chihuahua de Juarez. That's where the essays be. You know what I mean? So it's like you cross the border. We would go across the border at 13 years old with fake IDs and be in the club, partying, drinking. People was passing out cocaine for free, passing out pills, weed, joints, like whatever you wanted. You go across the border, you get that shit right there. Like, if you partying, motherfuckers gonna give it to you. Excuse my language. I know YouTube okay, cuss and stuff, but
go ahead.
If you when you cross the border, like, yeah, everything is either you can probably, if you know somebody, you can probably get it for free, or if you're trying to buy something, you can get it for the super low. You feel me? But growing up out here and running with the certain crowds that we ran with, coming up gang banging, you know what I'm saying? We was repping hard. It was, at first, it was really just all about the drugs for real. Like, everybody was trying to get a piece of the money out of the dope game. And it got to a certain point where if you wanted a pound, you could get a pound, and you really wasn't coming out of pocket. You was getting more profit than you was spending. And then turn around when it came to gangs, I think gangs really increased around the time of Katrina. Like, when Katrina hit, that's when we had a lot of influx from a lot of the outside gangs coming down to El Paso from like Louisiana and all that. But I mean, of course, you had your Spanish gangs. That's forever gonna be thick out here. You know what I mean? Because of course, this is their town. Like, they run this for real, to be honest. But we definitely had a wave when it came to the blood business. You know what I'm saying? Like, we definitely had a good wave from 04, like 03, 04, 09 time frame. We definitely had a wave, and it was
that's
definitely
a fact.
cool.
Anybody that would try to contest to that will be a hater, because
Facts.
Y'all laid down a real heavy foundation before I even got there. Because of what y'all did as teenagers, because like you said, you went to the military. We're gonna get into that, but you end up going to the military. So when I got there, you were actually doing your thing, serving the country heavy. But because of what you did as a youth before you even turned 18, made it possible for me to be able to walk them streets and rap as a grown man. Now, we had to do certain other things, but the foundation was laid that it was known. It wasn't just a small little clique. It was actually known. So it was a lot that went into that. That I think that a lot of people wouldn't even believe unless they lived it, man. Because it was a lot that went into that, and we gained a lot and we lost a lot along the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, I remember being there for a few months, being from the East Coast, not even really knowing about California gangs, really knowing mostly just about New York Bloods, right? Nothing really about California Bloods, right? So I got to El Paso and learned, it's a difference in the things that I was being taught as a kid, and certain things. Once you cross certain, borders, certain things don't fly anymore. And they don't acknowledge or even understand anything that's not from, as they say, the motherland, right?
Right.
And that was a very huge eye opener. That when I went there, it was like, other than guys that were in the military, there were no New York Bloods at all in the city. You had strictly West Coast gangs, and then you had Chicago gangs, which kind of like confused me, because they were more so clicking up with Crips, which was all weird. It was all weird when I first got there. They was all clicking up with Crips, and I didn't understand, like, if if our gangs is from California and y'all in Chicago, two different regions, we really don't know nothing. We shouldn't have no type of anything with each other because our politics ain't even the same. You feel me? But that just let me realize this. That northeast side of El Paso, right, is so small that it will make black people and Mexicans minorities, or truthfully, even though, like we just said, the Mexicans run this, right? Yeah. But we still minorities to America, right? Facts. Fighting each other for a small piece of territory. Because truthfully, in El Paso, the gang banging is different. We don't stand on corners. There's no standing on corners. Nah. See, it's all different. It's no blocks type things. So the way that, you know, life was lived out there was very different. I had never experienced some of the things that see guys 14, 15, 16 years old making thousands of dollars. Like for instance, like free Gambino, because it was a lot that went on out there that wouldn't have happened if he never decided to come play football and go to El Paso. Now, you can say it's a gift and a curse because the homie locked up, but that's the life that come with this when we choose to put it on this uniform. Certain things, it's not going to always be, you know, the glory. Right. You know, sometimes it's gonna be some pain to come with it. You feel me? But you just got to turn that pain into champagne. So free you, bro, because at the end of the day, whether people want to say it or not, you lit the fire. You lit the fire. Now, it was many of us that carried the torch to keep it going, but you lit the fire. So that's one thing that people have to acknowledge and keep it real about, because whether people want to say gangs are good or bad, I built a brotherhood with you guys. Yeah. You know, I didn't have much family until I met you guys. You know, Tomi comes from me trying to change my life and trying to see that, you know, everything ain't negativity. Ain't everything don't gotta be, you know, one way. You can actually try to make friends with people that's not from a certain lifestyle because they still men. You feel me? So
before anything.
Exactly. So it's like I learned so much from you guys, and I learned so much about loyalty, respect, and honor. You know, that I think it's important that sometimes we get on these, you know, things like this so the world can understand, because when you got things that's going on between like Young Thug and them, all these indictments going on, you know, you got guys that's really grew up, that was really pushing the line as kids, you know, and these youth that's coming behind us, bro, they don't understand really what they even getting themselves into. It's a different world. You know, the money that's being, like, that's why I asked you about drugs being plentiful when you was growing up, right?
Yeah, because I mean,
the prices that I seen that y'all can get for drugs was ridiculous. It's like excuse me, not $1,000, $100 for a pound and a half. It's ridiculous. And then if you wanted some bomb, $230.
You still looking at a great price, because even like you got people coming down here, like you could go from here to the East Coast
and kill the game
and take a 20K pack out there, flip that for 150K. Easy.
Listen, people wouldn't even understand the penitentiary chances. I attempted so many times to just make money, because we talking about this. Me and you both was in the military. Now, for me, you know, I made a dumb decision in high school to, you know, make some moves that almost caused me to, you know, throw away my freedom, and losing all the other options. My guidance counselor made the decision, like, let me, you know, finesse a few things, which it landed me in the military. You feel me? Wasn't really my choice, but at the same time, I didn't have nothing else. But moving out of, getting out of Virginia, getting out of, uh dysfunctional surroundings, from home, outside, and just my own doing, you know what I'm saying? Because not knowing, I'm making stupid decisions, you feel me? And I'm putting myself in bad situations. So not knowing a lot of things, that was my way out and my second chance, you feel me? But because I didn't have the know-how, I didn't understand that it was a second chance.
Right.
I went out there and I was like, man, I ain't really getting no money. I'm broke. But everybody looking at me thinking, oh, he in the military. He got money. They don't understand that when you first get in that thing, you ain't making no money.
Nah, you
and
definitely
because you come from a place of, most of us, of poverty, you want everything that you didn't have when you got in. So you living beyond your means. Because nobody taught you in public school about finances and money management and credit.
Taxes, yeah.
You understand? So when you went in, right? What was your purpose for going in when you went in?
So when I joined the Army, it was, so you remember how back in high school, the recruiters used to come up to your school during college day or whatever?
Yeah.
Had all the colleges and the recruiters up there. So recruiters up there one day, I talked to the recruiters, whatever, right? Fast forward, mind you, we've been moving, making moves. We done been putting on for the turf and all of this. We started moving a little packs and stuff, a little weed and shit. But one day we get jammed up. She got stopped, arrested, everything. I get charged with possession with intent to distribute. So as I'm going to my court hearing, my lawyer's there. My recruiter that I spoke to at that college day happened to show up when they was about to send me or whatever. My recruiter talked to the judge and the lawyers and was like, well, hey, he was talking about joining the military, making a change in his life or whatever. And I mean, pretty much it boiled down to the judge give me the option of like, you can either go to jail or you can join the Army. And I mean, I'm a young kid. I'm like, I ain't never got locked up. Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't been able to duck all my charges and everything like that. Mm-hmm. First offender program or whatever case may be. So I'm like, shit, I'll join the Army. You know what I mean? So I'm like, go to jail, don't get no money, join the Army, get paid to exercise. That's pretty much the option. So, I mean, automatic, I joined the Army. And, I mean, on one hand, I'm glad I made that decision. But on the other hand, I'm also like, I wish there was other options available at the time. Because, I mean, I honestly, like, straight out of high school, college wasn't an option. You know what I mean? Because it was like, I was too deep in the streets at that time. I was too involved in the gangbang. I was too involved in trying to get money, selling drugs, kicking doors in, whatever the case may be. And ditching school, smoking all the time. That was a regular. So, I mean, I had decent grades, enough to get a diploma, you know what I mean? But it wasn't nothing I could take to college and be like, yeah, you can come over here. So, I mean, it kind of worked out on the standpoint of like, they gave me something to do after school, after high school. You know what I mean? But I mean, it really wasn't no question about it. I mean, it was just go to jail or join the Army.
So do you feel like when you went in, do you feel like it made you a better person?
I feel like it definitely taught me some maturity. It taught me a few values that I know I didn't have as a kid. But for the most part, I feel like it enabled me to do things that I couldn't do before, in the sense of like, I could afford to make these mistakes, or I could afford to do this, which, I mean, it's not a positive mindset, but it was more along the lines of like, I'm trained, but I'm not trained thinking about training for the military. I'm trained for like, I could take this back home type shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like,
same thing I did.
Yeah, you take it back home. It wasn't so much like, okay, I know how to maneuver in the Army. You know what I'm saying? If we go to, like, I've been on 3 deployments, you know, been shot, stabbed, fucking blown up. And, you know, in those aspects, I was definitely trained to maneuver around it. But then I'm thinking about, like, when I come home, if some shit go down, push come to shove, like, I know how to keep y'all safe type shit. You know what I mean? So I gained that knowledge. And then, like I said, just little morals and values. It helped me develop. It did help me develop a sense of a moral code. Besides, like, just the basic tenets of, like you said, loyalty, honor, trust, and, you know what I'm saying, like, sticking to your fam. Like, that was always there, but it did give me a whole new set of moral codes in the sense of being all the way up into an NCO standpoint, like an NCO, a non-commissioned officer, people know them as sergeants. Being in a sergeant standpoint, you see people who deal with domestic violence, who deal with child abuse, who deal with, you know what I'm saying, so many different aspects. Like, that definitely, it was instilled in me as a young kid, but it was reinforced as an adult in the Army because I was dealing with it more often. So, I mean, on that standpoint, that's where those values and the knowledge that we gained from that came from.
So, like, do you feel like you said, you know, you've been on 3 deployments, right? Do you feel like the things that you had to do and see, do you feel like that still has an effect on you today?
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Like, we've discussed this before, you know, like PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, all that people think it's like, when you tell them that, it's like, oh, it's like anxiety, it's just anxiety, or it's just like the depression and shit. But what people don't know is, like, those things haunt you on a daily basis. Like, I still, to this day, I've been out the Army since 2014. To this day, I still have nightmares. And, like, from the Army standpoint, it's like, oh, you know, you could talk about your feelings, or we're going to give you some medication to help or whatever. But in all reality, like, that, it really doesn't help as far as, like, medication wise. They're just giving you stuff to help you sleep. But those same medications can make your nightmares worse. Yeah. Like, I have the same dream at least 3 times a week, and it's crazy. It's the same nightmare. It just always happens. And it's like, you might try to do something to change your mindset and not, like, have something on your mind, the last thing on your mind before you go to sleep, something positive. But regardless, it still affects you. Because it's like, I could go back to times where, you know, like, the reality of situations, when you're overseas, you're thinking about going home. You're not thinking about nobody else's life. You're thinking about yours and those you're serving with. So it's like, you might see a kid with a mortar, and your first reaction is, that's a kid. But in that same split instance, that's a fucking a terrorist, like, or that's a kid with a mortar. Life. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn, I got to take out this kid. And it's like, how you feel at 22 years old, 21 years old, 18 years old. My first deployment, I was 17, shooting at a fucking 4-year-old. Like, that's some shit you don't never forget. It's like, oh, you know, you shoot somebody, you won't forget your first body. I was like, I don't remember my first body. I remember this little kid. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you definitely hold on to those things. It definitely is an impression. And just like you said, dealing with suicide and things like that, that definitely plays a role in that. It plays in your mental. Yeah. So it really just depends on how you're able to express yourself and how to let those things go. Because, like, bro, you know how I get down. Like, anybody can go see my social media and see that I'm constantly always on the go or always on the move. And that's my coping mechanism. That's my way of breaking out of that mindset or being in that depressed state, because I know how I get when I withdraw into myself. And when I withdraw into myself, that's when I start turning everybody out and I start lashing out, and people don't like that, obviously.
No. But, yeah. Listen, one thing about it, now, Tomi, when you had your party, you know, we had Chino come up and do security. You feel me? Now, one thing you don't know, if something would have went down, it would have got bad. It would have got bad. But it was a reason why I had him there, because, like, I done been in battle with him, and I done seen that he goes off. Like now, mind you, in that moment, you could be like, whoa, but when it's all over the fact, you be like, okay, now I see, like, bro, just is for him is either 10 or 0. But when it's time to go, he going full throttle. It's no halfway with him. So that was one thing that I appreciate about him. But I also know that if it ain't gonna be that, don't do it. You know what I mean? Because we got a lot of bros that's like that though. Like I give them that. Like that's one thing about us that it's a lot of us that is trained to go, and the ones that is military trained, bro. We definitely, yeah, we different caliber bros though. But like Chino, like that's my right hand though. Like and I definitely. You know, I could have got him on here and easily had him come on here and talk about a bunch of gang stuff, but man, we go way beyond just those things. You know, I've seen this man. You know, he's one of an exceptional, like listen, this man can play pool. This man can throw that, man, the bowling ball, man, he's something different. So it's like he got so much to him than just, you know, getting on here and just having to talk about games, because he got a real life story when it comes to, you know, just, you know, being from way from, and like I said, he's a representative from where I'm from. You feel me? So I hold him heavy. Because, like I said, before I even got there, he laid down the foundation with a, you know, like I said, with Gambino and them, and they made sure that. But even still, Gambino was a grown man. He didn't have to go to those high schools. They was in them schools having to go and do what needed to be done, and they was outnumbered, very much outnumbered. Because when I got out there, they was outnumbered, and it took some time to build up, man. And you know, when I look back at it, sometimes it pains me because we lost a lot of good men to prison, to death, but certain dudes lost their life because of suckers that shouldn't have never been around us. So that's something that showed me that influence is everything. And that's why Tomi, that you don't even really understand this so much, bro. This is the reason why I have you on the podcast and why I would always be around you, is because it's not easy to do what you're doing, Tomi. It's not easy to get up and want to go to school and want to do what's right, bro. It's not easy. And I know sometimes it may be like, man, look, I could be doing so much, making so much more money doing other stuff, but nah, bro. Trust me, you don't want the pain of having to live through sitting in sales and having to run because you done so. Nah, bro, what you doing is an amazing thing. Going to school and trying to do something positive way and doing it at a young age. That's why this is so important, bro. Because the people who really pay attention to this podcast will really understand the message. The people that's like my age, Tomi, they trying to make it right. They trying. Some of them is on the right path, but a lot of them is trying to make it right, and a lot of them is lost. Now, your generation, y'all getting to the bag early, but what y'all doing is y'all living to show it off to the world. A bunch of people that don't give a damn about y'all. See, we grew up when the social media thing was just hidden. As we were grown, though, we were grown-ups when social media was just hidden. We was young adults, right? And we got on it and we tried to do little certain things with it. But what we realized was, if you really lit, the world don't need to know. They gonna know because the word of mouth gonna speak. Yeah. Because if you got money, you gonna go to city to city, state to state, and your name gonna be spread. Period.
If you really about it, you not gonna have to tell nobody. They're gonna know it without, you know, having to ask or you having to flaunt yourself out there. It's like more like walking, not talking type shit.
Yeah. And see, like Tomi, like on your aspect, like I salute you, like bro said, like you the next generation coming up. You know what I'm saying? But you putting on for your team and yourself, you representing, and you doing it in a light that we didn't have to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like you doing it in a way that it's in a positive light Whereas, like, even though we living positively now in this moment, the things we had to do to get to this point, it took a lot of our blood, sweat, and tears. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? It took a
sir.
lot of pain from our bodies and our minds to get to that point. So the path you on, you gotta stay on it. But just like you said, like Wisdom was saying, like you were saying, when you moving in the right manner, your name and your vision gonna spread by word of mouth. Because like I guarantee you, like me and Wisdom, we can go anywhere in this city, in this state, in these all
And get
51
love.
states and get love. And it's
That's a
not just
fact.
because he was sitting there like, bro be making moves. He cool, whatever. No, it's like, bro, that's a solid individual. Like, bro, gonna put on. You feel me?
And I'm
Like,
gonna tell you, like when it comes to this front liner for that thing, man. Listen, I was front liner for that thing, city, state, wherever. You feel me?
you
Like
feel me?
if it needed to be, then I was putting my neck out there because at the end of the day, I was the one that I wanted to be the face of the hood. And you want me to tell you why? Because I never wanted the real muscle, the real people that was really having the motion going. I never wanted them to go to prison. I felt like if I went, then everything could keep moving because I had the know-how to keep things flowing. But I realized, let me tell you something. That's how I know, like, God is real, because it was another plan for something else to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, mind you, I had my bumps and bruises and scrapes, but luckily I also had great lawyers, and I was always having to have a little bit of money, so I never was able to just be down on my luck. Because the one time I was down on my luck, I had the money, but at the same time, I didn't really have enough money. The lawyer was costing a lot of money. I'm down in El Paso fighting a whole charge. I don't even really want to talk about what the charge was, but like I'm fighting a whole charge. I got a dude ratting on me from a whole nother set. You feel me? I just seen I'm gonna leave that alone, but I saw him saying something to you. I'm gonna leave that alone, but you feel me? Like I'm fighting. Tomi, I'm telling you, like the lawyer talking about, in order for me to even sit down and talk to you, not a retainer, for me to even sit down and talk to you, I need you to put 20,000 on the table.
That's just to conversate and go over
That's
your
just
case.
to talk to him.
You're talking about $20,000 for therapy session. Shut up,
man. Listen, I'm talking about. Listen, man. I spent big money to beat that case, man, and still got kicked out the military. Still got kicked out. No honorable discharge. That's why I want people to understand, bro. I put a lot of pain into this lifestyle, bro. When I was on there really living it, man, I threw away everything to gang bang, man, and I didn't care. It was about me really living for my hood. But these youngsters don't understand really even what that mean, man. Because they clicking up with their enemies and doing all kinds of weird stuff. That's not what we did this for. And right. I'm not trying to, discredit or talk. I'm talking about specifically the dudes that's under my umbrella. I don't really care about what goes on there where else, because that's something they got to clean up. But for the dudes that came behind what we laid the foundation, I hope you understand really what dudes did, so you can be able to say you are what you are. Because now I understand where the guys who laid down the foundation in California, how they feel, because they never knew it was going to spiral to go other states. That was never their plan, but it became that, right? But so when you become a certain age, and then you be like, man, I did all this, and these dudes don't even respect it. But it's like, nah, well, guess what? That's probably how the guys felt when we was the same age as these guys, So the only thing you can do is educate, right? Educate them. So for me, that's why I'm telling them, like, look, man, I did wrong. I'd had my share, and I'm not gonna tell you what you doing is wrong. I'm just gonna tell you this, love homie, be careful, because that life will give you two things, man: jail or hell. Is it? And if you don't touch them,
side of that, it's hard to educate somebody if they're not willing to listen.
They got to be ready. They got to be ready. So because I learned, bro, you know this for a fact. I was banned from the state of Texas and came out there. Not even supposed to be in the state. I came out there to sit with the homies and told them, like, hey, bro, look, I've been living in different states. I done went all these places. I've been seeing all this go on, and I've been watching y'all. And I'm telling you, change things up. But guess what, though? Everything that I said was going to happen in that room, it happened. But do you think I feel good that happened?
Nah.
I feel horrible.
But you warned them. You see certain individuals stood the path. They moved correctly, but then you had those others who strayed. And next thing you know, like, that's one thing I hope you never have to experience. Tomi is have to go to your homie's funeral behind some sucker stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, we done been to a few funerals in the matter of 6 months, like 5-6 funerals in a matter of 6 months behind dumb shit. And it's the same stuff that Wisdom's talking on right now. The same things that he's speaking on is the same things that I'm talking about. We lost homies behind the same stuff he's talking about, doing sucker shit or moving sideways when he was trying to give them the game. We try to reinforce the shit, but you can only push so much on the people. So it's like, what I would say is, like, always preach your message, always push your message, but by the same token, focus on the ones who's paying attention, because you can't save everybody. And down the line, in the long run, you're more likely to lose yourself trying to save others if you're not focused on the right people.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm gonna tell you something, Tomi. Like, he just gave you a hell of a jewel, because I'm gonna tell you, like, one of my main purpose, once I saw the power you had within yourself that you don't even realize. You know, a lot of times you give your power to other people, you don't even know it. And I know this simply because, you know, I'm a person that is big on, how can I take this person's power from them? I'm gonna give you an example. Somebody shakes your hand, right? Right? The camera is right here, right? You see this right? Now this is our hands. I'm gonna turn my hand to make sure, guess what? That my hand, now this is the other person's hand that's back here, all right? I'm gonna turn it to where you see my hand in the camera, because I'm showing my dominance. If I go and I go stand beside you, I'm gonna put my arm around you. You seen people do things like this? Yeah. That's people trying to enforce their dominance over you.
I mean, I realized people try to do that to me, and people actually do it to me, but not like in certain sense.
Not in a disrespectful manner, though, because they know you will check them if they get out of pocket. It's just small things, but I'm telling you that you have a power within your generation that you don't realize that you have. You don't know it. I'm telling you, I'll be around you, and I've seen it. That's why when we went out to that brunch, everybody was, oh, what's up, Tomi? Everybody, because you have a power within you that makes people want to be around you. It's just you don't understand that yet. You don't get it. You threw that party, best party in San Antonio by far. Bro,
I seen the video.
Oh yeah, I sent them the recap. Of that joint.
Bro, crazy. I'm mad. I was on security. I was like, I need to go work inside with Wisdom, man. Let me go work inside, because
it's probably the most stressful day of my life, and I even had no type of fun.
But it was a good party though, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was a good party.
Hey, but you remember when Tomi came outside? Hey, line up.
He said, nobody ain't getting in here if y'all don't get in one line. Yeah, he was upset, bro. He was upset. Let me tell y'all something. Tomi was stressed out, man. Listen, I ain't want to hold y'all too long, man. I'm gonna be honest, like, I'm gonna pull you on here for a whole nother topic, Chino, but I really just wanted to, you know, a lot of people who know me know that, yeah, I went to the military. A lot of people who know me know, yeah, I ended up in Texas. But a lot of people don't understand, you know, when I went to Texas, man, I became a whole different other person, man. I became a full-fledged gang member, a drug trafficker. I was doing a lot of things that I had no business really doing. You feel me?
Hey, it'll definitely influence, like especially you coming from the East Coast, coming to the South. It'll definitely
Listen,
influence
that's a
you,
fact.
bro.
That's a fact. I tell people, I
Because
went out there and I was blown away by the lifestyle. The
coming from the
lifestyle
East
can
Coast,
really
y'all was
change you.
fast moving over there. Like I know when I used to go through VA, through fucking Jersey, through DC, Baltimore, all that. It's a fast paced lifestyle out there.
Nah, Harlem is Harlem is fast paced, but I'm specifically talking about Danville, Virginia, though.
Yeah,
Because
it's
that's
fast.
where I was coming out of straight out of high school. You feel me? And at that point, bro, listen, it was different, man. It was
I'm
different.
telling
That lifestyle, the people, the just everything, man. I hadn't experienced nothing like that until I got there. You know,
you was able to
and
slow down
even
and breathe.
coming back, when I do go back, it's not even the same. It's not nothing like that. I think them days could never be recreated. Never. Because the people, some of them people ain't even around no more. Like rest in peace, Tanner. You know what I'm saying? Like Tanner was a kid, but I'm talking about like even right now, but like my man C, rest in peace C, because when I got to El Paso, that's who was really getting money. He was a black man really touching real money. I'm talking about $1 million man. And I ain't still to this day, I ain't seen nobody getting money like how he was getting money, man. He can speak fluent Spanish. Riding around on motorcycles, tearing the streets up, $1 million crib, man. Doing it. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, we did. I mean, we did our thing even on our side, but because you got a game who had like 4-5 cell phones, could give you a cell phone to make money off of. You know what I mean? Now, mind you, he gonna charge you, but I mean, you get money, It's like so. I just, I really wanted to touch bases and also just give people a glimpse on and let them know, like, certain people go to the military not by choice. Sometimes it's by force. And for you came out good though. You got out not dishonorably. You got out honorably, and you still doing your thing. You got you have your your mishaps even with the PTSD and things like that, but you still out here not giving up because you look out for the homeless. I mean, that's something that you've actually started, doing, not to care about just for yourself, but to look out for other people. You know what I'm saying? And I commend you on that.
I really don't promote that shit because my biggest thing was like I never wanted to do it for social media or do it for publicity or nothing like that. It was really just, I do clothing drives every year. If you want to kick in. But again, like you said, shit spread word of mouth. Everything spread word of mouth. Hey, Chino doing it. You doing something special for the community, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, I thought that nigga was just a gangbanger. Like, I thought he was just a regular ass street nigga type shit. Like, nah, bro. Like, we really doing something positive. It's just, I'm not the type of person to want that. I don't need that exposure. You know what I mean? I don't want that social media attention. I don't want that congratulations. I don't do that for that. I do that just because, like, I'm from here. Like, I'm from the Philippines, you know what I'm saying? But this is my city. Like, this is where I grew up at. I've been here. I lived here since 97, left for the Army in 05, came back 10 years later, back out this motherfucker. Been here till 2022 to this day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for everything that goes on in the city, for everything that people say they're doing, it's like, I hear y'all talking about it, but what are y'all actually doing? Like, what are you actually putting into action? So I had the opportunity. I'm like fortunate enough to be able to do shit like that. Like, yeah, I'm gonna ask people for donations. Like, hey, you want to kick in? You want to be part of something? Be part of something. But if not, I don't mind spending a little bread in my pocket, go buy some fresh, brand new pairs of socks and underwears and blankets or whatever, so I can pass them out. So somebody could be blessed for the holidays, or let people know, like, you still got somebody out here looking out for you. You know what I mean? Like, we all go through our ups and downs. I've been through our bottom. You know what I'm saying? I've been to the point where I damn near not even lost everything, damn near gave everything away. House, car, crib, clothes, everything. Like, I don't want shit. Like, I just want to be alone in a dark hole somewhere. So, like, I found out my way of giving back to those who felt like they was in that same position because I was able to come out of it. So, you know what I mean? That was the only purpose of that.
Nah, I feel you, bro. Like, cause we done been through the struggle, man, and that's why I really, I know the importance of this podcast. A lot of people aren't gonna catch the vision until,
years later, really.
Yeah, because I know that it's gonna be people that's needing some type of direction, some type of information, insight, or people who even just want to do some research on what's going on back in such and such year. You feel me? It's gonna be something that somebody can go pull and look at. And I want to be very strategic on the topics that I bring up because you can talk about anything. We can sit on here and talk BS, but I want to be able to touch people in ways and that they don't even understand the topics need to be had. Because there's a lot of us that are minorities that went to the military, and a lot of us went in and came out with nothing to show for it. But they're too embarrassed to say something. You feel me? I had to start all the way over and figure out life now. You feel me? And luckily, I had, education to fall back on. But if I didn't, I wouldn't. I don't know what I would have, because when I first came out the military, all I had was PTSD and an attitude. I was upset and I was embarrassed that I got kicked out, and I didn't want nobody to really know I got kicked out. When people talked about how I got kicked out, I would be upset. You feel me? My own brother went and told everybody, and you know what? I get it now. I get it. It's because I was the first in the family to get out and do something right, and I ain't do right by it. Now, yeah, he's a hater, but the real message was you had a chance and you fucked it up. You feel me? And I did. But guess what though? I also made a way for a bunch of young black and white, let's keep it real, young white and black men who didn't have a lot of direction. I can honestly say I never put a one drug pack in nobody's hand. I never put a single gun in nobody's hand. I never told one person, hey, let's go do blah, blah, blah together. Never. That was not nothing that I ever did with a little homie. I was not one of them people. I didn't, even though I was a frontline gang member, I didn't see the point of trying to bring down people simply because of a choice I made. Because everybody's purpose for doing what they was doing is not the same. So I knew what I was doing was for my own reasons. I was looking for something that I was lacking, and nobody else could, give me that but me. When I went and did with the things that I wanted to do, you feel me?
So let me ask you a question before we dip out of all that. Let me ask you a question, because I asked a lot of people this question, but I've never gotten like a real straight, secure answer. When you talk about like you put packs and you never put a pack in nobody's hand, you never asked nobody to do nothing that you wouldn't do or whatever the case may be, right? It's not to discredit nobody, but it's a question I always ask just to get people's viewpoint. When it comes to idolization and respecting others, right? Who would you respect more when it comes down to somebody who's been to jail through whatever means, like whatever they went through, whatever they did, versus somebody doing the same thing but never being caught? Like somebody who never got a record versus somebody who has a record for doing the same exact shit.
It depends on how you look at it. Now I'm gonna give you what I mean by that. Growing up, going to prison was a badge of honor. That's why I talk about it, because it meant something to go to the yard, to say you walked the yard. You feel me?
Right.
But at the same time, I was in the shoe. I was on 23-hour lockdown, and then they put me on AgSed because they said when I came out for the 1 hour, I was passing notes and you know, I was listen. I don't know about none of that. I wasn't doing nothing. But they put me on 24-hour lockdown to the point where, bro, I only got a shower once a week. You understand? I'm in the cell replaying phone calls that I had in my mind in 4th and 5th grade. You know, my mind tore up, right? So when I went to prison and I'm sitting in that cell, I talk about it on my song, my testimony. I'm sitting in that cell, right? And I feel stupid, right? And I came home. I moved to Minnesota around a bunch of white boys, right? 17, 16 years old. I'm talking about, yeah, man, you know, I went to prison, yeah. And dudes was like, so? That means you're stupid. You got caught. You're not smart at what you were doing. All right? Now, mind you, I wanted to beat the shit out of them. I'm not going to lie. But as I got home, right, and I started thinking what they were saying, they right. If you got caught, you're not good at what you was doing. So if they respect the person that got caught, then that just shows you the path that they want to go down. Because if you don't respect somebody that was able to do something and get away with it, you ain't smart, my friend. Because the purpose of the game is to do, not be seen, not be caught.
Exactly.
That's the whole point.
Glad you said that, because that's the reason. Like the reason why I asked that question is to find someone who would get to that point. But it wasn't like to discredit nobody, because like you said, like people did back then carry it as a badge of honor. And you know, so like I said, no, I'm not knocking nobody who's down behind the wall. Like you said, free Gam, free the homies. You know what I mean? Free all the homies behind the walls. Free Fat Mac, D-Rule, all of them.
Yeah, love to the bros. No, it's definitely not on that. But we talking about to the youth. You know what I mean? Like, because exactly. At the end of the day, this was
to the next generation.
Grown-ups, you can't change them. I'm trying to change the youth. You understand? I'm trying to get this out to the ones that's Tomi age and under, because that's the ones that need to hear this, man. Because they at the age where I need them to know that the things that they doing, if they on the right path, stay on that path. Because that path is going to make sure that you set up and later in life. It's about longevity.
Everybody I asked this question to has been 26 and under. They've all been under the age of 26. Because like Steven, you know my little essay partner, Steven.
Yeah.
Bro, he's 21. He just turned 21. I've asked him that question. He's like, shit, I'm just trying to live my life, G. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, listen, I feel you. You're a young gangbanger. Like, I've known you for a minute now, but like, I'm gonna try to drop some jewels on you and guide you. Like, and bro been on a solid path. Like, I've been keeping bro straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, he still get busy, but at the same time, you talking about a 21-year-old with the 2020 Mustang, got his own crib.
So you really can't tell him nothing.
Doing big things, but he still makes young man decisions. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's where his mind's at mentally, though. I mean, regardless of what he's doing, because you know, man, Tomi, you remember we had that conversation on the podcast, on one of the podcasts about what makes a man a man. Oh, yeah, and we was like, he could be doing all these things, but his mentality ain't gonna change because where he's
still a child, yeah. But see, that's
Tomi had that. Tomi actually broke that down to me in one of the podcasts, our early on podcast.
I think it was episode 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he definitely broke that down to me, man. But listen,
I'll be watching, but sorry, I'm telling you, I pay attention.
That's love, bro. Now, if y'all can't notice, this that WuraUniverse. I ain't gonna say that. I'm just gonna say get some merch. Get you some merch. I know I'm looking like Mr. Cheeks over here. I ain't gonna say nothing, but I know I'm looking like Mr. Cheeks over here. Hey, y'all young bucks might not understand who he is, but talking about lights come action. How you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Hey, listen.
I wasn't finna say nothing.
Listen, this is the No Name Podcast. This is one and a half of your host, Wisdom Devine.
There's the other half, Tomi Adewi.
And we are out this joint. Hey, Chino, appreciate you coming on, bro. Love, man. We'll get you back on.
Business, man.
We
Much
out of here.